family get you the power of attorney as soon as possible. Okay. Hey, back to you, Candace. Great conversations.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
Candace, Miss Candace,
Yes.
what is the difference between a POD and a power of attorney?
Great question. Great question. So
That's
a
about it.
POD is a simple form. It's normally at your bank. Okay. At your bank, it says, this is who the money goes to if something happens to me. Okay. A power of attorney, on the other hand, says this is the person who has the authority to take care of things on my behalf. Sometimes if I'm unable to, or if I'm incapacitated, depends on which form you're filling out. But in simple words, this is the person that can actually take care of things on my behalf. Okay, so that's the power of attorney. And Attorney David Jones will talk more about this during I think 2 sessions from now. He'll talk more about this, but that's the simple answer. Was that helpful, Ms. Michelle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
And I feel important too, Candace, before we close that call out on conversation on that. If that person's in the hospital and need to go to another doctor or something like that, you need medical records. That person is deceased, so you need to go pull the medical records. You still need a power of attorney to do that stuff. It's very, very important that you understand the power of attorney, and we need to activate it. So we'll make sure, and we talked to David, that he spent a lot of time on that, so you guys understand it, because but to other people out there, banks holding a lot of money, and 401k plans holding a lot of money because the legal stuff wasn't put together. So we'll make sure you guys get that information for sure.
Good stuff.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
I just recently did power of attorney for my dad because he had to go into the hospital. And his power of attorney, does that trump the POD?
But POD is at death. I always remember that. Paid
Okay.
on death. Okay. That's when somebody dies. Now, the power of attorney works when a person is actively living, but they may become incapacitated, like Candace said, in a surgery, anything can happen. And with some decisions might need to be made. And also that POD doesn't just give you the power of a hospital visit, it gives you the power over all their financial affairs and stuff. We're talking about their bills, paying their bills, you may have to sell their home, all kind of stuff can happen.
Mhm.
So that POD steps in and kind of takes over as a controlling force, almost like a guardian thing. Once you get the POD and the person goes into like a assisted living program for a period of time, then you have to be assigned guardianship. So the POD, not the POD, but the power
of attorney. There you
power
go.
attorney, power attorney covers it until the guardianship thing is decided by the courts. Okay,
Gotcha.
so it's like a 2-step process on the power attorney if the person is still living or not.
Okay,
good.
so if the person is still living and I have power of attorney, could I myself go, I guess, apply for the POD? That makes sense?
Yeah, the POD gives you access. No. The POD gives you access to the information at the bank. You can take the stuff from the bank to him to sign off on it.
So,
If he's
so
still
let's get
able to
clarity,
sign
right?
off on stuff.
Mr. Charles. So you're saying POD on accident? So we want to get clarity. So the POD, right, paid on death,
Yeah.
is if someone passes away, if they die. Okay. The power of attorney, which is a POA, the power of attorney gives you access to information and gives you authority to do things. You cannot go, to answer your question, you cannot go to the bank and tell the bank, oh, I need to do the POD on my father. They won't allow that because that's not your account. But if you have the power of attorney, now you have access to his information anyway, and you could actually get those things done.
Right.
I hope that was
And
helpful to help you clear it up.
Yes, without him being there because he's in the hospital.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's a legal document.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Good. Great question, Troy. Any other questions? You all are starting off on a good start today. This is really good. I'm encouraging. Any other questions about your assignments? Any of those things? Okay.
Just real quickly, Candace. So if you have the, again, if you have the POA, then I think what Troy is asking is, does he still need the payable on death form in the interest note if he has a POA?
Yes.
Power of attorney.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr.
No problem.
Okay, there's a question in the chat. Natalia, great question. It says, is the POD on an account the same as a beneficiary listed on accounts? I have beneficiaries, especially on my 401ks, life insurance, etc., not if the beneficiary is listed on the bank account. So great question, Natalia. The POD on your bank account, it's honestly just like a beneficiary, but it's a bank, that's a bank account document that's called a POD. Your beneficiaries that are on your other accounts, which are 401k and your insurance policies, those are perfect, right? You got those set, that's good. Just make sure they're updated and up to date. The POD on your bank account, it works just like the beneficiaries on those other accounts, but you need a specific one done for that bank. Not, you can't just use the other beneficiaries on the other accounts and say, oh, well, this will be good for my bank account. It doesn't work that way. Yes, you need one. Good, you got it. Okay. All right, perfect. Good. All right, good deal. She got it. That was in the chat there. Any other questions about anything? The floor is open. It's your time. Let's talk about it.
Oh, I do have a question. This may be kind of a little bit off, I don't know, but how do you make sure, say if you have a child and but they're young, but you want to make sure that they get something in the event that something happens to you? What's the best way to handle that? Like some of your money or some of your, whatever you have, but you can't really necessarily put their name on paperwork and stuff. What's the best way to handle that?
Great question. You got to really want to stick around for that class with David Jones, because he's going to talk about the power of wills, codicils, and all those kind of things that you can actually control your money from the grave. I don't want to get too legal because I don't want to get too far off course. Got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. That's going to be a great course for David to go in detail from estate planning, from a tax perspective, from a legal perspective, get some good information concerning that. Good question, though.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Any other questions? If any other questions, assignments, you got an email, you've started on your financial binders, you've done your debt plans. I hope you've done your debt plans. We're going to go over them tonight. Any questions about any of those things?
I want to know if anybody's finding any money. You find any extra money in that budget, but we want to pay off some debt. Did anybody find any extra money from learning from their spending over the last couple of weeks? Are you in a position you can eliminate some stuff and create some extra cash flow for yourself? That's what I really want to know tonight. Did anybody find any money?
No.
No.
Did you work on it, Miss Michelle?
Yes, I did. I didn't find any money.
Okay, we're going to talk about it tonight then. No problem.
Okay.
Well, I actually found a couple bucks, right? And let me say how.
Okay.
With like insurance, taking it off of like a bi-monthly payout and then paying it once a month, I was like, this is cheaper, right? And so that was a discovery like maybe 3 or 4 months ago, but I'm just now seeing the long-term benefit of it, like in September. So I did it back in January or so, and just have been monitoring. Also, just having those healthy discussions with my family about why we can't do Parent Plus loan versus some of the other options for paying for undergrad. My son goes to Morehouse College, so it's like $50,000 a year. So having those kind of conversations of so I really have, as they said, become smothering with all this information because my heart is racing because I'm like, I'm not getting in debt like this father over here in this news article. He's taken out Parent Plus and he's at $550,000 in debt on Parent Plus. Read that yesterday. So I'm like sending stuff out. So that's how I've been like cognizant of my spending. I did a bad thing. Kohl's cash is terrible for me sometimes. And so I have to realize, yes, I may have saved 5, 10 or whatever monies they give me, but I have to make sure that I cure that debt. So it's like a plus minus and a math thing for me. Also, I don't like this online stuff because that add to cart gets you in trouble. And so just really talking myself out of that like immediate purchase has helped me with I don't have to do this. And also giving fellow adults their stuff and saying, no, you don't get to spend my money. I'm just not realizing I got $2. So the power of no.
That's
And
good. That's good.
that's how I've been, because I'm a giver. And so folks come with sad sobs. And I look kind of harsh because I'm like, no, I can't help you.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome.
And a good terminology for that. I wish I could help. I don't have any money for that right now. And for that. Okay. So when I say that particular thing they're working on, you don't have any money for that right now. Not that you don't have the money, you just don't have it for that. So great accountability to yourself, Ms. Williams.
That's
Awesome.
good. That's good. Miss Brittany said that we found money in subscriptions. We had no idea they were still looking at their bank statements and had subscriptions coming out, and they didn't even realize it.
Wow.
That's good. It's really good. They saved on streaming subscriptions. Miss Andrea stated that. So that's really good. Awesome.
Awesome.
Good
Awesome.
stuff. Anybody stop eating out a little bit, even if you just didn't eat out one time extra, right? Anybody? I did. Let me tell you, I ate some noodles. Oh, I hadn't had any noodles in a long time, but I was hungry and I was like, oh, this is terrible for my weight plan, right? But I'm gonna eat some noodles today. I saved a couple dollars and then I had to go walking, but it worked, you know?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Well, it looks like Monica had something in the chat. She said she's currently saving $116 a month. That's what she found. Should I use that money to pay off my dad first? If I do that, how will I ever get my emergency fund? How can I do both? It's a great question. Anybody want to tackle that before I give an answer?
Go for it.
Well, let's say the first goal, Monica, we want to teach in this class is that your first $1,000, what we want you to get your first, okay? Before you pay off any debt or do anything, we want you to get at least $1,000 in an emergency fund. That's a short-term emergency fund, of course. Then we'll probably take partial of the $116. We'll put some to paying down the debt and also continue to increase your emergency fund. It's very important we get that emergency fund built up. It's absolutely important because stuff comes up all the time and you don't know it's going to come when it's going to come, but it will come up. And you don't want to go to family and friends to ask for money when you got money coming in your own household. So we want to create some dignity in this situation. You know, delay the debt a little bit, but we got to get that emergency fund built up for the dignity piece of going to your own money, creating your own bank account. Okay, good deal. Side salads.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Someone said they went to Sam's and they doing their salads and stuff. And so basically sounds like she's buying in bulk. That's good. That's awesome.
And could I say this one? I just learned, okay, so I paid my car off in July.
Okay.
But I learned this morning that the left CV joint, whatever that is broken another car. And I got in my head, started thinking like, oh yeah, you don't have a car note. You should have been putting toward the broke CV joint or left CV joint, which I didn't even know it was until I drove that particular vehicle. So I went to work thinking you should have been putting money ready for that repair kind of thing. So for later. And so I got to do more research because I didn't know that car had that need, right? And that's my way of saving money because I'm like, okay, let's fix this. Because the car is for my son. Freshman year, can't have a car. And I'm like trying to get it ready for sophomore year. So in a way, I'm like saving money. He can't drive yet, so don't worry. I'm doing the right thing. So I'm like, nope. If you don't want to drive and can't drive, then we're going to just fix the car, you know? Having those wholesome conversations. So it's scary for me to do it, the approaches that I've been doing because I come from poverty. So I want what I want when I want it. But at the same time, I'm scared to spend my money when I want to spend. I know it sounds crazy because I don't want to spend it, but at the same time, like I want what I want. So.
That's a good question. Your conversation is good though, because you paid your car off. And that was a debt, of course, that you had been paying on for 3, 4, probably 5 years, you know? So when you paid that car off and your emergency fund, if it's not where it needs to be, or your debt plan is not there, you immediately take that same money and you start setting up the emergency fund and taking a portion of it and start setting up your debt fund. And the reason you want to do that because you've already created a habit of paying it every month. But what happens a lot of time when people pay off cars and things of that nature, they immediately get into another debt, or they take the money and start spending it for something else that they normally would not have spent it for. So good thinking, Ms. Williams. We definitely want to take that money and start redirecting it, give it some new direction. Okay, listen, Candace, want to go get started on that part. We got a lot of stuff to cover. So we'll at the end of the call, we'll talk about some other ways you guys can save money, some specific ways and ways to look for saving money. Okay.
Awesome. So we had another lady, didn't want to miss her. Jade said that she did insurance. She cut insurance, meal prepping is what she started doing. Cut some AT&T and DirecTV and start cutting on miscellaneous spending and subscription. So
she saves a lot of money.
Yeah, she is. That's really good. So getting into this next part is going to be really good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for sharing today. It's been really, really good. Actually, it's been great. So we appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and jump into the assignment that we discussed. Okay. So one of the things we were going to go over was the crown.org. Did you all, by just putting in the chat, get a chance to go to crown.org and start your debt elimination plan? Anybody? Yes. Okay, good. That means we have some things to work with. All right, perfect. I'm going to pull up crown.org, and we're going to walk through a debt plan, and I'm going to show you how to make sure you're reading it properly, and that you're inputting your information properly on that system. The next thing we're going to go over, it's going to be some information about what if you don't do it, right? What if you decide not to do this, right? We'll talk about that and how the long-term effects of debt. We'll talk about that. And if we have time, we'll do your investor profile tonight as well, which I put in the chat a moment ago for you to grab and print off on break if we have time. All right, so that's what we'll be doing tonight. Let's go ahead and jump in. Again, thank you all so much for sharing just your feedback and takeaways and things that you're doing. That's appreciated. All right, let's do a screen check. Can you see? Can you see my screen? Yes, perfect. Thank you, Marcus. All right. I'm going to start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning just so you can make sure you're on the right site. If you go to crown.org, okay, crown.org, go under money. This is a free site. Go under money and then financial calculator. So I'll click that. When I click that, I scroll down and go to debt snowball calculator. That's exactly what we sent you in those instructions as well, but I wanted to make sure we walk through it together. So tonight, I'm going to give you an example and really show you what it can look like for you to pay some things off and do it very quickly with this process. So I'm going to click on let's go, and then it asks me for the information here. So I'm going to go ahead and type it in. It won't take me long. I'd already kind of had it ready for you all. So let's say this person has some Capital One, which is a credit card. They owe about $22.50 on it. Interest rate's right at 23%. And the payment every month is right at $200. Okay, so this is what you would do for yourself. You would go through your bills, and I'm gonna tell you this, and I figured this out when I was filling out another one of these this time. It's actually better if you put in the lowest amount of your debt first inside of this particular calculator. It works better for you if you put in your lowest amount of debt first and then move up to your higher debt. Okay. I noticed that when I was filling this out for the class today. Put in, I'm gonna say it again, if you did your analysis and you did not put your lowest debt in first, make sure you put your lowest debt first, okay? Then we have Dillard's. This is another credit card. The person owed about $49.50 on it, about almost $5,000, 21% interest rate, and they pay about $250 a month for these cards. Oh, I look forward to the activity we're going to do after this, but I'm going to keep going here. This person also had some student loans, okay? Again, this is the example, but you should be doing this for yourself or have already done it for yourself. Again, if you did not put in your lowest debt first and then increase to the higher debt, redo it, please. All right, interest rate on the student loans is 4.5%. I hope that those student loans have been consolidated. And if they have not, put a pin in that, and I'll tell you about it later. I'm gonna put a pin in it on my side too. You want to always consolidate your student loans. That's a big deal, especially if they are federal loans. This amount is $350 a month for your student loans, and for the student loans in this example. And then they have a home. Oh, I'm sorry, they have a car. I messed up. Let's go back. I want to make sure I put them in order. So their car is how much is the car? What did I write down? 19,500. So right at 20,000, but 19,500 is the car. They pay about $450 per month. And then they had student loans. There we go. I wanted to make sure those numbers were in order. So you see, I went back and fixed it. All right, student loans, 4.5, and they pay about $350. Last one is the home. They have a home. Let's go make sure I didn't miss anything. That's fine, Ms. Katrina, that you didn't want to list your student loan debts for the first 1 to 5 years in your planning, but you'll be surprised what the numbers look like. So I would encourage you, if you're making payments on those student loans, include the numbers, because you're not going to get a full picture if you don't include your student loan numbers, but if you're making payments right now. If you're not making payments right now, you can leave them off. But if you are, we need that money, put the numbers in there, okay? All right, I got the head nod, I'm good. All right, student loans, $350, and then we got a home. So they have a mortgage. The mortgage payment balance is $165 is what they owe now. Current interest rates 3.5%, and they pay about $1,100 a month. All right. Now at the bottom, you see the next button. You click next. Now I was so conservative in this example. I only used $100 a month. Can anybody tell me how many dollars that is per day? Mr. Thomas said it on the first day of class. He said blank, blank, blank is $100 a month. Anybody?
$3.33.
You got it, Miss Chantel. You better tell it. Okay, Miss Chantel got it. She won our first gift card tonight. Thank you, Miss Chantel. $3.33 a day. I said, you know, anybody can find $100 a month. $3.33 a day. That's a Coke from the vending machine. That's not eating out once a month. I'm sorry, once a week. And if you do that every week, you found $100 easily. Easy, right? $100 a month, anybody can find it. So I say, you know what? Let's keep it simple. We're going to use $100 to this in this example, and then I calculated the results. Inside of this process, let's see if I clicked it. There we go. So they have a total of $241,000 worth of debt. Monthly is $2,350 would be their total month amount of money that goes to debt, and interest about almost $80,000. Now, this is what that would have happened before we applied the $100. Now, can someone grab their calculator, do me a favor, and you may even be able to do it off the top of your head. Now, with $100 being added to their debt plan, which is what they call the accelerated debt payoff, adding $100 to this amount makes their payoff amount of time on 119 months. Can anybody tell me how many years that is? I'll wait. I already know. Tell me, how many years is that?
A little less than 5, right?
It's not less than 5.
A little less than 10.
Right under 10, 9.91, I think is exactly what the numbers were when I did the math. That is right under 10 years of debt being paying off with $100 a month. Now, y'all, can y'all tell me that y'all can find $100 a month? I just wanted to know if I was excited in this by myself. Anybody? Anybody?
Yes.
You can find $100 a month, right?
Yes.
The purpose of this exercise is for you to see that many times we're not doing this process because we're not doing this process. Oh, I hope you got it. I'm gonna say it again. Many times we're not doing this. We're not paying the debt off. We're not being consistent because we're not really sitting down and taking a look at our finances for real.
Okay, let's stop right there just for 1 second, okay?
Mhm.
So you took debt that had 18 years left on it, 205, and you practically cut it in half with $100.
$100.
All right. So that $100 was almost like an investment, right? Because I took the difference of 205 and 119. What is that? How many months is that? Let me see. 119 minus 205. 86 months. So in 86 months, I saved this family, you saved this family almost $50,000, right? In interest payments.
That's right.
So ladies and gentlemen, the student loans paid off, the homes paid off. Those two major things. So that $3.33 a day that some of you guys are throwing away, okay, which is $100 a month.
Mhm.
When you're eating it, was it subscriptions, was it in cable, it's costing you 10 years on your debt. It's costing you money. So think about that. if you want an investment plan that to really work for you, think about investing in your debt. I can't think of a better return on your money than taking an extra $100 or $250 a month immediately along with your savings plan and applying it to your debt. And guess what? We'll show you the mortgage later. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to show you the mortgage later, what that extra money will look like in investment returns by getting rid of some of the debt early. Hey, can I start to interrupt you? I just want to make sure it was clear on that.
We're good.
Great job.
All right. So what I want you to do when
I
you
have a question because I got lost. What was your question about how did y'all get 9.9? Because I was, when you said how many years was that?
119 divided by 12.
Okay, I did something.
They gave you 119 payments. That's monthly. So that's
Okay.
119 divided by 12, which is 12 months in a year, gives you the amount of years, which is 9.9. Yes, ma'am.
I heard the question totally different. Sorry. That's why I
No
answered
worries.
like less than 5. I was like,
Okay.
I'm
No
like,
worries. Miss Katrina, just make sure you go and add those student loans back in there for me, okay? That's going to be very important in your process.
okay, what about the fact that, never mind.
It's okay. If you're making payments on the student loans right now, and that's money going toward those student loans, put the loans in there. If you're not making payments, leave them out, okay? Sometimes they're on deferment or different things, and we don't have to get into that. Mr. Desmond, you had a question?
Yes, she can refinance her car and get a lower interest rate. So she can take a part of that money and help to cut down our bills too.
Very true. That's possible. Definitely possible for sure. Depending on her credit score and different things like that, she could create more cash flow with that refinance. That's true. Yes. But the point, and I want to make sure you all get this before I move forward. Do you all get the point that even with everything being high and maybe out of order, she still could spend, this person could still spend $100 a month and pay off all their debt within less than 10 years. Do we understand that? Do we see that? Okay. All right, perfect. So let's continue. So if you scroll down, once you do your plan, okay, they have an option to download the actual debt plan. It's right here. It says download PDF of schedule. All right, download PDF of schedule. I did it, but I'm going to do it again. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm going to download the PDF of the schedule. I'm going to stop my screen because you probably can't see me. All right, one moment. Let's make sure you all can see. Can you all see the downloadable Crown Accelerated Debt Payment Calculator? Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, now with this example that I've given for tonight, okay, with the example, this is the summary and how it looks for you to use this for yourself. Now, when I first looked at it, I was like, because I took the class myself, well, it's been about 6 years now, I think. And I was like, how do I read this thing? So I want to make sure that you're not having a moment like I had. And you're like, okay, they saying this, but how do I read this thing, right? Don't tell me I was in there by myself. Anybody had that problem? Okay. All right, so let's jump in. Now, this gives you the summary, but we're going to go to the payoff schedule. Inside of the Capital One, there was a $200 payment originally. Inside of the debt payoff, they took the extra $100, and now for the first month, they paid $300 to Capital One instead of $200. They just applied it to that debt. Guess what? All the other debts, they still paid their regular amounts on time. You see that? That's why they show them all across there. They paid those regular amounts on time. The second month, all the way through the 8th month, they did the exact same thing, and Capital One was paid off in that, and really in the 9th month, but they didn't need the full $300 in the 9th month. They only needed $57.63. Y'all see that? Please respond to me. Let me know you're following me. Everybody? I see head nods. That's good. Okay. Now, the 57 is all they needed. Guess what? Capital One is done in that 9th month. Good, good. Thank you all so much. Perfect. The 9th month, Capital One is paid off. They paid the $57.63, and the additional money went where? Over to Dillard's. Dillard's had a $250 payment. They paid the difference of what was left over for Capital One. to the dealers that month, which is $492. And then guess what? The $300 they were applying to Capital One, now they started applying that extra $300 to Dillard's. It was originally a $250 payment. Now it's a $550 payment because that $300 was added to Dillard's regular payment. Do y'all see that? Everybody got it? Understood. Great. Now, of course, we're going to do that continuously. And you see how, I want you to notice this, they didn't take Capital One. You see it's blank moving forward. They didn't go and run it back up. That's the worst thing you could do. Take a credit card, spend, and then run it back up. They didn't run it back up. They left it alone for a little while and kept paying off debt. So they applied the extra funds that they were paying to Capital One to Dillard's. Now, you're paying $550 to Dillard's and the regular payments to the other debts. Because the thing is, when you're paying off your debt, you don't want to stop paying other debt just to handle one debt. No, you keep paying your minimum payments on those other debts. And now you move forward with paying the extra on one debt. That's why it's called the debt snowball, because we're attacking one debt at a time. Now, somebody would ask me this question normally. They'd say, well, Candace, why would you start with the smallest debt? Wouldn't I start with the debt with the highest interest? No, you start with the debt with the lowest debt, because guess what? You pay it off faster. Don't you feel good if you had that Capital One card you've been paying forever on, and then now after the few months pass by and it's gone, it's like, whoo, I feel so good. I paid it off. I feel accomplished. Guess what? I feel more encouraged to pay the next one off because I got rid of it faster. Okay. So that's your objective. Start with the lowest one and then move up. Now you notice, and I'm not going to continue too much here, but moving forward, you see where they made it to that 15th month here, and Dillard's was now paid off. Look at that. Payment number 15 in the 16th month, Dillard's was paid off, and now the extra $550 is being now sent over to the car. Look at that. Do y'all see this? This is exciting. It's exciting because the important part about paying off your debt is it should be exciting, number one, but you're cutting your interest, you're focused, and it's not that you're not paying your other bills, you're paying them, you're just paying the minimums on all the other stuff and then attacking that one debt. It's paid off, and then again, carries to the extra, the $550 that was there is carried to the car, and then carried to student loans, and then carried to the mortgage. All of this is being paid off within actually it's right at 10 years, 9.9 years with only $100. You could have gotten a raise at your job to increase and accelerate this faster. You could have went and you could have did anything, right? Just more money could have came. You could have cut some more expenses, any of that stuff, right? You could have stopped eating out a little more and paid $200 toward it instead of $100. Any of these things are possible, but you have to be able to stay focused and just attack it and still pay those minimums. At the same time you're doing this, guess what? Guess what happens? Your credit score is increasing because you're paying your debt off. So many things are happening that are good for you with this process. And Charles just said it in the thing, with only $3.33 a day, which is $100 a month. This is amazing. Any questions about this recap review? And have you done yours? That's the question right there. Have you done yours? If you have not done it, I'm asking you to do it, please. And if you have done it, when will you be debt free? Give us your number. What's your number? Yeah, you didn't think I was going to ask. I'm asking. 8 years, Monica. Good. Wonderful. Isn't that encouraging? You started. Good. Let's get it finished. Good information. Perfect. Everybody understand how to read the chart, how to go through it step by step. You all understand that piece?
And Candace, you said it, but really having the discipline to determine what needs are as opposed to wants is going to help you not go back and charge those cards up, because really for this plan to work, you really have to be disciplined and not go back and charge those cards up and create new bills.
That's right. That's good. They
Okay,
got it.
Let me say this real quick. We talked earlier about setting your bills and stuff on automatic payments, auto payments. Now, this is a prime example. If you do this with all your credit cards, the student loans, these are fixed accounts that you spend every month. So if the money is already inside the bank account, it's going to automatically come out every month on time. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. You put that $100 in there a month and have it designated toward one bill each month like this, and you look at the chart that Candace put together, you know when you go in there and move it over to the next bill, you can do this with the help of automation, which helps with your discipline. You need to understand that it won't work if it's not automated and if you're not disciplined. Okay, great job, Candace, on that part.
Thanks so much. Any questions about this? I want to make sure we're understanding what's happening, what we have. Any questions? Because we're going to move forward to talk about what happens if you don't. You agree? All right. Perfect. Autopilot is my friend. Let me tell you, I get busy in life and bills just go, and I'm glad, you know. It's an auto pay will help you be more disciplined when handling your finances. Absolutely. You got to be the CEO of your finances. That's absolutely right. Good stuff. All right. Perfect. So I'm gonna move forward because sometimes, and I'm gonna tell you this. Just growing up, right? You learn things and you see things and say, okay. Sometimes you don't really move because you hadn't been in enough pain. Oh, I'm gonna say it again. Sometimes you don't do things differently because it hadn't really hit you yet that your actions are really not helping you or working against you because you hadn't hit no pain. You hadn't had trouble with your bills or you're not struggling financially. So sometimes it's easy for you to say, oh yeah, I'll do it later. Oh yeah, I'll get to it. I hear them talking, they right, but you don't put no action forth, right? So I'm going to talk to you tonight and I'm going to show you this information so that you can see what happens if you don't. I'm going to do a screen check here in just a second. Let's make sure we can see. Let's see. Screen check, give me some nods. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
It says money matters right now.
Yes, it does. Perfect. All right, so I want to talk to you about what happens when this process works against you, right? We talk about compound interest. I'm going to talk about that briefly. Let's talk about what happens when your debt works against you in the process. So let's get into it. What I call this part of the presentation is called "What a Mess. What if I don't pay off my debt?" Oh man, I just love it. I'm excited. Can't you tell I'm excited? Let's talk about it. Here we go. So every time I speak, I tell y'all this. Every time I do a presentation, I talk about the thought of the night. So my thought of the night tonight is that the first manifestation of wealth is never money. Super important concept to understand that when you start thinking about your money and getting into the money process, you don't just jump in and have an understanding immediately. What normally happens is that you have to develop your mindset about your money first and understand how it really works and how it affects you. And then you get into the skills and using better skills with your money. All right. So it's not just ever, even if you jump into money, think about people who win the lottery. What normally happens to them, they're out of money in a very short period of time because they didn't have the mindset to know what to do with the money. All right. So the first manifestation of wealth is never money. It's always the development of your mindset and the skills, and then the money, the understanding of that process continues to grow. All right. So let's jump into it. What is the banker's secret? The banker's secret, and Marcus would we often pick on Marcus and we tell people that this is the information that the banks don't want you to know, right? Now, Marcus teaches this class because he loves the people and stuff, but we mess with him all the time. He's not the bank, but he just works at the bank, okay? Right. So we talk about the banker's secret and we use the rule of 72, okay? You should be writing this down, taking notes. If you don't have your pen and paper, what time is it? Oh yeah, I got perfect timing. If you don't have your pen and paper, grab some real quick. Make sure you even grab a napkin if you got to. Let's make sure we get this wrote down. The banker's secret, or we call the banker's secret, the rule of 72. Many of you have heard this before, but I'm going to go over it anyway. Make sure we got it. The rule of 72 says if you take 72 and divide it by the actual interest rate, it'll tell you how many years or how much time it takes your money to double. All right. And this is super important, especially when we get to talking about investing. But this is important also because the way compound interest works, it also can work against you in the same fashion. So the banker's secret is super important. You wrote that down. You got it wrote down. Good. Let's continue because I wanted you to have this formula. And we're going to talk deep about this later, but I need you to have a formula for this conversation tonight. Now, inside of this conversation, there's a definition I need you to write down because it's super, super important for you to understand this too. I think everything's important, but this is important. Interest is the penalty you pay for the right to own something in advance that you cannot afford. I'm gonna say that again, slow. Interest is the penalty you pay for the right to own something in advance that you cannot afford, i.e., I swiped the credit card for, let's say, the refrigerator. All right. Swipe the credit card for the refrigerator. The refrigerator was too expensive. I couldn't afford it at the time. The credit card company charged me interest for that purchase. All right. The interest is the penalty amount. That's not the amount for the refrigerator. That's just the penalty because they gave me the money in advance because I couldn't afford to buy the refrigerator with cash. Now, I'm not using any strategy to say, oh, well, I bought it on my credit card because I wanted to get points, then I paid it off. Just delete that. All right. That's not my point. Because I know some of y'all get to thinking, well, I could have did it for that. That's not my point. All right. My point is that the interest is the penalty. So the more penalty you continue to pay, that's you paying for the dollars that is on the card or the dollars that you're not paying off early. You're paying more penalty if you don't pay it off early. All right. So with that in mind, I have this worksheet. Okay. And we're going to take a credit card that has $5,000 on it. And we're going to do a real breakdown of what happens with this credit card when a person decides not to do their debt plan, when a person decides to go through the class and then forget everything we learned about and just do nothing else, right? Or if a person shows up to class and not do their assignments and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to it later. I'm not being hard on you. I just need you to see what it looks like for you not to do what we came here to do and not to be good stewards like God said that we're supposed to be. So let's talk about it. On a $5,000 credit card, now this is for example, right? This could be definitely modified, but let's just use it for example. You pay $100 a month. Easy to do. The card companies want you to pay low amounts so they can get as much interest as possible. Let's look at this in perspective. Your interest rate is 21%. Now let's break down your interest rate on a monthly basis. If you take 21% and divide it by 12, you're paying 1.75% in interest every single month. Now, if you're with me and you with me, make sure you're with me. Just put a yes in the chat. Just say yes, yes, yes. I'm with you, Candace. I got you. I just want to make sure everybody's still awake because I'm about to get it's about to get real. Okay. Yes. All right. We good. Everybody here. Perfect. Oh yeah, y'all good. Okay, we live. Good. Here we go. Now, your interest payment. Well, here we go. So you take the 1.75 and put it in a way that we can multiply. Here we go. Take it in decimal point. Take the interest, put it in decimal 0.175 times 5,000 equals $87.50 per month. Now I'm gonna wait here. Make sure you got it. I'm gonna repeat it. You ready for me to repeat it? We took the 1.75, which is the monthly interest rate. We multiplied it by the amount you owe, which is 5,000, and it puts how much interest you pay every single month, which is $87.50. Now, Desmond over there laughing like you can't be serious, right? I get it. Your principal amount is $12.50.
No, that's not why I'm laughing. No, because I understand how the credit cards and work, so I get
it. Hold on, let me finish. $12.50 is the principal payment. Anybody know what the principal is? The principal is the amount that goes toward how much you really owe. What was the penalty? Can anybody tell me what the penalty was? The penalty is the amount that you pay. So the interest is the penalty amount. So it has nothing to do with the principal. That's that money that the banks are making. There you go. Money. I see you, Marcus. That's the money that the banks are making, right? Let's break it down. Come on. I need to make sure you're with me. Your reality is $5,000 divided by $12.50 means that just 400 months for you to pay this credit card off, paying your minimum payment of $100 a month. Let's look at your sentencing because it feels like a sentence, right? Which is like a jail sentence. You're locked up in this credit card payment, okay? $400 per month divided by 12. Can anybody tell me what the number is? I'm gonna wait for it. What is 400 divided by 12? I got you. I'm gonna answer your question just a minute, Ms. Marcia. 400 divided by 12. Anybody tell me what the amount is? How much is that?
Come tell again. 33.
33.3. Oh, thank you so much. 33 years is how long it'll take you to pay that credit card off. $5,000 credit card with $100 minimum payment.
I don't think
So-
they heard you, Candace. I don't think they heard you.
You think I should say it again? I'm gonna say it one more time. 33 years is how long it takes if you only paid $100 a month on a $5,000 credit card. That's how long it would take you to pay it off. Now that doesn't even include paying it and running it back up. That's if you just leave it alone, right? That does not include, I'm gonna say it. That doesn't include if you pay it and you say, oh, I'm just gonna pay, I'm gonna swipe it a little bit more. 33 years, that's on the minimum, okay? There was a question and we got it answered here. Where does the $12.50 come from? Remember, there was a $100 payment that you made monthly right there on line 2. Line 5 shows how much the bank gets for the interest on the credit card. And line 6 is the amount that went toward the $5,000, which is $12.50. That's what's left over after the bank took their interest. It's going to take 33 years to pay that card off. And let's take it a little bit further. So when we start looking at the banks got these big buildings, how they got these buildings? Well, we love they buildings to go in there and feel fancy. Yeah, we want them to feel fancy, all right? And then we feel fancy, but they the ones making the real money, especially when we do stuff like this. $87.50 per month is what the bank's receiving, right? We all follow that. Everybody get it? Put yes in the comments if you know and see how the bank is getting $87.50 off of the interest. Everybody see that? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Yes, okay. $87.50 times, we have 400 months, remember? Because 400 months is how we got 33 years. All right. What is that amount? Anybody tell me? How much money is that?
35,000.
$35,000 is how much the bank made off of a $5,000 credit card.
I don't even want the credit card.
I don't even want that. They're making 7 times the amount of the actual credit card off of our negligence. And when I say it's negligence, it really is, because we decide, oh, it's okay, I'm gonna get to it later. Just pay the minimum. I'm on the money matters class, but I ain't doing that stuff. I'll get to it later. They're making tons of money off of us and our money if we're not doing our part. So the goal of the conversation is just to say, hey, we get it, right? Everybody's busy. We all got a lot of stuff going on, but in reality, we have to start paying attention to our money. We cannot leisurely go through life thinking that it's just going to get better if we don't do anything to make it better. That's simple. Okay. So let's move on. Yes, it's real. So our lack of knowledge costs us money, but let me tell you, the reality is that you can no longer say you didn't know any better. You can't, because after seeing this information, you can't say, oh, I didn't know. Yes, you do. You know now. And when you know better, you do better. Mr. Charles Thomas said, what you don't know about your money can definitely hurt you. And that's so true. Definitely true. So Maya Angelou says, anything that works against you can also work for you once you understand the principle of reverse. The goal is not to beat you up, I promise. It's really to show you how if the banks can make this kind of money, so can we. We can learn about our money. We can learn how compound interest works using that rule of 72, and we can flip it and say, okay, I'm going to pay my debt off as quickly as possible. And we're going to make sure that we're running and going into making sure that we're paying that debt off so they're not getting our money, but we're going to start investing so that we can make the same kind of money that the banks and stuff are making. So you all have to stay tuned. All right. Last thing I want to share with you, part of this portion is yeah, go ahead.
Before we go any further, can you go back a couple of the slides? Yeah, that's the one that I would love for everyone to, if you want to take a screenshot of that to help you to let it sink in. I think you understood, everyone understood the magnitude of inaction of only paying just a minimum payment. But sometimes when you go back and revisit this a little bit later, it's a helpful reminder. It's going to help you change your mindset about money. As Deacon Thomas says, give your money new direction.
That's right. That's good. So he said, take a screenshot. Let us know when you got your screenshot. Just put it in the chat. Screenshot. Just put screenshot in the chat that you got your screenshot. I like that, Mr. Marcus. That was perfect. Thank you.
Candice.
Yes.
It's 33.3.
It is. So it will be a little bit more, but I didn't want to get all technical tonight.
And they make an extra 30,000 on your $5,000. So
that's the point.
You got it.
Yep, you got it. You got it. All right, screenshot. Anybody else got their screenshot? Or just take the picture, get your picture. It's all right. Just take the picture. We want to make sure you got it. All right, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and move 2 or 3 more slides, and then we'll be done for tonight. One of the things I like to think about, because for some reason, it's easier for us to work when we think about maybe others, right? Have you ever had this moment to where it feels like, oh, I got to do it for me. I'll get to it. But then when you think about it, if I got to do it for my kid, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do anything to make that thing work for my baby, right? Have anybody ever felt that way before? Just give me nods. I'm good. Okay, perfect. So with that, what I got 2 minutes. I'm cool. We'll take a break right after this one because we got a couple more things to cover. All right. With that in mind, there's 3 levels of wealth. Your personal wealth, like it's me. Like I got to deal with me. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to do it for me. Okay, cool. But then you got that second level of wealth where it's generational wealth, where you're not just doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for your generations to come, right? It's for your children's children. Like the word says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, not just his kids, but his kids' kids, right? That's real good. So that's the second level of transit of wealth. But then we get into transcendent wealth, to where you're no longer affecting yourself and your generations, but you're affecting your community. When we start working on our finances and really getting to the place to where we can help ourselves, then we're able to help other people in our community that have nothing to do with us, but we start to have impact. And when you start having impact, that's major, but the beginning part starts with you. Right? We have to start with ourselves, take that really, real hard, good look in the mirror and start making some things happen. It's time for action, y'all. So with that in mind, it is a good time for a break. It's a good time for a break. Yeah, I hope I didn't hurt y'all a little, not too bad, right? Not too bad. But it's a great topic, great information. Any questions about it before we go to break real quick? Any questions? Whoop, whoop. Y'all okay?
Why aren't they teaching this in school, Jesus?
Yeah, they haven't always.
They're teaching the wrong stuff.
They're teaching the wrong stuff. I get it. I understand.
Oh, Lord.
Really and truly, they won't teach it in school because they don't want us to be wealthy, take care of our kids and our grandkids and all that stuff. They don't want to teach that in school. That's why they try every way possible for we not to make it.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Any questions? Our school systems could do better, for sure. But I think that the most important thing that we have to understand is that we have to take responsibility. It's time out for thinking that our school systems are going to do it. If somebody else is supposed to teach our kids, no, we have to get it so that we can then pass it to our children and that we can educate them, because at the end of the day, it starts at home. So now that we can do better as adults, learning this information, we're also getting ready to do programs inside of our youth at our church as well. So we're doing our part, but we have to do our part for real and do it at home. But you have to start with yourself so that you can pass that down to your kids and stop relying on other people to do it. That's it. That's my thought process on that. Any questions? Sorry, before we go to break, we got 1 minute before we go to break.
Okay, I want to make sure I understand. Personal wealth comes with paying off the debts and aligning with establishing generational wealth, which we leave for our children and the children's children.
Mm-hmm.
I have not heard of this transcendent wealth, so you've given me some new learning. That is that joining in and buying properties with folks, or is that establishing things in your community that historically haven't existed?
That's correct. That's good. Yes.
Okay, thanks for teaching me. I love you for being a great educator on this.
Thank you. All right. It is break time. It's 7:05. Let's come back at 7:15. That's a 10-minute break. We'll come back. We won't go anywhere. So if you have something personal you want to ask, we can talk about it. If it's needed for everyone else, we'll recap it. But it is break time. Let's take a few minutes. 7:15. We'll start back up. 7:15.
Good. I swear, sharing your daughter. Your mother's letting me know that's my baby.
That's one of my mothers. You'll learn, Miss Katrina. I was raised, honey. So I'm from the country. I was raised. So my mother is Jeanette Cook, and Miss Cherie was one of my mothers as well, because she would whoop me just like my mama would. We all grew up together down in the country. So yep, she is. Yes, ma'am. Wonderful. So it is break time, just so you all know, it's break time. I want to make sure we're clear. Any questions about anything before we move forward? Any questions? You are open to speak. Or write in the chat. I also posted the investor risk profile inside of the chat. That is the last thing I posted. I will post it again just to make sure you received it. If you want to take that, print it off, or follow along. This document, and I'm going to assume that there are no questions. I'm going to go last call for questions right now. Any other questions right now? No question is a bad question, and you can't ask too many questions, because the question you have could be the question someone else has. So you're welcome to ask your questions. We are here for you. All right. Okay. And if you want personal assistance, you can always send an email to mysmartstrategy@gmail.com. mysmartstrategy@gmail.com. You can normally get a response inside of that email if you have something personal that you just want to correspond with us on. All right. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and move this investor risk profile. Anybody know what kind of investor they are currently? Anybody? Good, Desmond. Awesome. So we normally go over this worksheet early on now, because it's so important for you to start preparing yourself. All of this process is really meant for you to be able to get to being an investor, to making sure you have your what are you making sure you have? You have your emergency fund built, at least $1,000 in that. You want to make sure you start in your debt plan. That's what we're talking about, making sure that you're doing your part inside of it, so everything goes together. All right. We talk about what kind of spender you are, what kind of what's your money personality, if you're a spender, and all those things. Then we talk about, hey, let's look and see your debt. Like, what do you have? Let's make sure we're paying it off, because what we don't want to create is a put and take account to where, yeah, we get to investing and everybody wants to invest, but have you done those previous things that are important for you to make sure that when you start investing, that you don't create that put and take to where you're putting it in and then you're taking it back out because you did not plan properly to make sure that you were doing your part. So tonight, I'm going to go over that as well. We're going to talk about your investment profile. And with your investment profile, let's make sure I have the right PowerPoint up. With your investment profile, we're going to discuss what kind of investor you are. That's exactly what we're talking about. Let me make sure I can get this pulled up. All right. I have two people that know what kind of investor they are. So that means everybody else, I'm going to assume, does not. And we're going to talk about it. How about it? All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the investor profile. Let's see here. Let's make sure we got screen check. Anybody can see my screen? You can see? Nod your head yes for me.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So with that in mind, let's talk about it. Now, this is another presentation, so I got another thing to say. All right. So the thought of the night is how you invest is just as important as your rate of return. This is a quote by Mr. Charles Thomas. This is a good one to screenshot, you know, take a picture of. This is Mr. Charles Thomas. It's a quote he gave so long ago. And I love it because when we start talking about investing, he's the best that I've seen ever, because of the knowledge that's given inside of the process. So when he talks about how you invest being just as important as your rate of return, we're actually going to discuss, and not tonight, this is the prep for those discussions, discussing how you should be investing your money, processes of what it looks like to do so, and if you do it the proper way, how you can increase your rate of return by default. So it's really, really cool. But Mr. Thomas that's his quote. So I wanted to, you know, throw him out there, give him a shout out. Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for all that you do. And your thought of the night is for the second part. So my question for you is, what kind of investor are you? Now, sometimes when people hear of investing, they just kind of put their hands on their head. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. We get it, right? But that's the purpose of us kind of starting a little early to make sure that you can have these profiles done. So when Mr. Thomas says, hey, you should go invest in these things, you will know exactly what it looks like and what you should be doing based on your investment profile. All right. So let's talk about what that looks like. Your time horizon. All right. So your time horizon just says, when will you begin withholding money from your account? That's very simple. Your tolerance or your risk tolerance says, how much can you affect? I'm sorry, how much will the market affect you if it goes up and down? How much risk can you actually handle being in the market? Your investor profile is based on those two things. Your time horizon, which says how soon are you going to take the money out, and your risk tolerance, which says how much fluctuation in the market can you handle. Those two things. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go through these questions with you, making sure we answer them. You will answer them the way that you feel like is best for you. I'm just going to go through it, and this is going to be the example that I'm giving, but you're going to answer these questions based on what's best for you. Now, if you did not get a chance to print off the document that I sent or that I posted, you want to make sure that you at least write down the numbers and circle your numbers to go with it. Maybe just do it on an extra piece of paper. Okay. All right. I plan to begin withdrawing money from my investment accounts in, the questions are, that's the question, and answers are less than 3 years, 3 to 5, 6 to 10, or 11 or more. And the example, I circled 6 to 10 years. All right. Number 2, you circle what's best for you. Don't put what I put your answers. Number 2, once I begin withdrawing funds from my investments, I plan to spend all the funds in less than 2 years, 2 to 5 years, 6 to 10, or 11 years or more. There's an answer there. You put what's best for you. Very simple. Let's do a little math here. It says enter the total for questions 1 and 2. The answer on this one is 15. That number is going to be important later. And we'll remember that number, put it on your paper, whatever your number is. Anybody have a number? What's your numbers? What numbers did you all get? Yes, I'm talking to you all. What's your numbers? 18. Okay. Good, Monica. Anybody else? 18. Good. All right, good. 18. Got a lot of 18s, 20, 11, 18. Good. All right, perfect. I'm just glad you got a number. That's good. Did anybody get 3 or less? Anybody get 3 or less? Okay, 15, 18. All right. All right, good. So nobody got 3 or less. If you did and you didn't answer, okay. All right, if you got 3 or less, let's talk about what you should do next. If your number is 3 or less, that means that you should stop here because, oh good, because that indicates that you have a short investment time horizon, which means that you're relatively low risk for a portfolio, and they actually give you recommendations right here. You actually wouldn't have to move any further. Having a low investment or time horizon just means that you're going to take your money out very quickly. And if you're taking your money out very quickly, the strategies is it kind of stops here for you and you would do exactly what they said. All right. Now, because nobody answered, I'm going to move forward and we'll go from there. Let's move. No. I highlighted what I said. All right, here we go. Next question, number 3. I would describe my investment knowledge as none, limited, good, or extensive. I circled limited on this one. This is the example, okay? Make sure you circle what's best for you. Number 4, when I invest my money, I am concerned about losing, equally concerned about losing or gaining money, or most concerned about making some money. Which one is you? I mean, you don't have to put it in the chat. You just circle what's best for you. All right, I circled an 8 there. Good. Number 5, select the investments you currently own. Bonds, stock funds, international funds, and then it says an example. It says you now own stock funds in the past, you purchased international securities in the past, you would score an 8. I circled a 3. If you're not sure, you can like put it low, that's okay. If you're not sure, okay? Normally, if you have what they say, like 401ks and things like that, I think Charles said not to circle anything, but in this case, if you have anything outside of just your 401k and it's like a bond or stock or anything, just circle what's best for you. If you don't know, just don't put anything. You could have a 0 there on that one. We won't include those numbers if that's something you don't currently own. All right. Number 6, consider the scenario. Oh, this is good. I like this scenario. Imagine that in the past 3 months, the overall stock market lost 35% of its value, and an individual in stock investment you own lost 25%. What would you do? Now, let me give you the example in my words, okay? Let me give you the example in my words. Let's say you had, let's call it $100,000, okay? You had, okay, there we go. You had $100,000 in an investment, an individual investment account, an individual stock account, all right? If it lost 25% of its value, that meant over a 3-month period, you lost $25,000. So you went from 100,000 down to 75,000 like that in a 3-month period. What would you do? Sell all your shares, sell some of your shares, do nothing, or buy more shares? What would you do in this scenario if you lost $25,000 in that particular 3-month span? What would you do?
Buy more.
All right, not looking for answers in this case, just circle for yourself. I don't want anybody to encourage anybody to do anything. Somebody would say buy more. Some people would say I'm not doing anything. And others would say, you know, I don't know, right? Just do something. I don't know. Circle an answer. That's what I need you to do. All right. Now, in this case, I circled buy more shares, right? Now, in the coming classes, we will talk about dollar cost averaging. I don't want to go too deep in this section because I don't want to get ahead of myself. But what's really important about this is remember answering this question, okay? Remember, you don't lose until you sell. Ooh, what does that mean? I'm gonna say it one more time. You don't lose until you sell. What does it mean not to lose until you sell? You never lost money, you lost value, remember? So if you lost value, that meant you didn't lose actual dollars. The value of the account went down. It didn't mean you lost money. So you only lose dollars if you sell your shares. Remember that. That's all I'm gonna say. You choose your answers and I'm gonna move on, okay? All right, here we go. Next one. Review the chart below. Uh-oh, let me move my screen. I can't see. Y'all quiet on me. Y'all okay? All right, here we go. We've outlined the most likely and best case scenario. All right, these are hypothetical funds. Circle whichever one would be best for you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say A, C, and E. You pick whatever's best for you. A would be, and you can always use the rule of 72 in this case. So if you choose A, your average return is 7%, best case 16%, worst case -5%. C is 10% on average, 33%, best case 18%, worst case. And then E is 12% on average, best case 50%, worst case 28%. So if you want to figure this out, you could take, let's say 12.5 divided by 72, and that'll tell you your average amount of years your money would double. See if you want that one. Anytime you invest money, you got a chance to win and to make money, and you got a chance to lose money. So you have to look at the best and worst case scenario and choose what's best for you. Okay. All right. In this example, I chose, what did I choose? The example, I put 6C in the middle. All right. Choose whatever's best for you. And then we're going to add them up. So add up all the numbers on this page and tell me what numbers you got. I got 28 in the example here. Tell me what you got.
16, 24, 30.
All right, what'd you all get? $35, $33, good. $27, good. Anybody else? Got your numbers added up? 33, 35, 27, 39, okay, good. Chantel, 31, Naomi, good. All right, perfect, good. All right, so the next page, everybody got some answers? I want to make sure. I don't want to move too fast. Am I moving too fast? We okay? Can we move? We good? All right, I'm gonna think that's yes. 32, good, good. All right, now with this in mind, you're good. Okay, perfect. They said I was okay to move. So with this in mind, you want to go to the next page, which gives you this chart. Inside of this chart, it actually tells you, well, let's look and see if I can get a screen here. It gives you categories based on what you chose. So earlier, whatever your number was, you'll find that number on the side. It was 15 in this example. So I would take the 15 and then I would scroll it across because my second number, which was my time horizon was 15. I would put that on the left side. And then my risk tolerance is 28. Excuse me. And I would put that at the top. Excuse me, 1 second. All right, there we go. I guess I talked a lot. Okay, last week I sounded super terrible, so I'm actually doing better today. All right, so then I will go to the top and get that time horizon on the left side, risk tolerance at the top, and I would meet in the middle, and that would tell me my risk tolerance, okay? That would tell me my risk tolerance. In this case, moderately aggressive is the risk tolerance for this example. What all did you get? What did you all get in this example? Moderate, all right, aggressive, good. We got aggressive, we got moderate. No answer is bad. What's important is that when you're first starting your process, you may start out in one way, and then progressively, as you educate yourself, you may become more aggressive throughout the process. We got moderately aggressive, moderate, moderately aggressive. Good. So you could start in one place and then increase to another as you continue to learn and grow in the investment lane. Good. So Jade's moderately aggressive. Wonderful. So this is good. No answer's bad. You just need to know so that when you begin to go through these processes that we're preparing you for, because everything, again, like I said, it's a step, right? As you begin to take your steps in the process, you'll be able to see, hey, I'm moderately aggressive, so I can actually invest in this kind of way. So let's look at what that looks like. On the last page that is on that worksheet that I sent, it actually shows you what you should be investing in based on your investment strategy, based on your investment profile. Okay, so a person really shouldn't even be giving you any investment advice if they don't actually know what kind of investor you are. So super important for you to know this information. In this example, it's moderately aggressive. Mr. Thomas, if you want to jump in and kind of go over these kind of areas and speak more to this. I know we're not doing an investment night. I do know that, but we're preparing them to make sure that they're ready to do so. So you want to speak any more to this and kind of break down those areas? I can if you want me to, but if you're available, you want to go over that part?
Hey, happy to jump in. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Hey, great job on the profile on the front end. This information, of course, is based off their current knowledge. Your profile might change as you get more knowledge, of course, but where you are right now, Yeah, since last class. Somebody said they went from moderate to aggressive since the last class. That's great. So let's take a look at a moderately aggressive person. It says the average return for a moderately aggressive person is somewhere around 9.9% per year. It says the average best year is around 34.4%, and you can expect the worst year around 29.5%. So inside the pie chart, it says for long-term investors who want growth potential and don't need current income, it tells a fair amount of volatility. Now, volatility means as the market goes up and down, but not as much as portfolio investors exclusive in equities. Equities, ladies and gentlemen, mean like stocks, companies, big cap, large cap, that kind of stuff. But let's take a look at this. Candace, can you just scroll up just a little bit so I can see the bottom part of this some more? Scroll your sheet up. Yeah, it may be my screen, but I need to look at those numbers at the bottom. You're muted. I can't hear you, Candace.
There you go. I say it's a PowerPoint, so it won't move.
It won't move up. Okay. Well, I can't see the very bottom here. Let's just talk about it then. The 5%. I need to see that bottom now. Your sheet won't scroll up.
What? It's not a sheet. It's a PowerPoint. What are you wanting to see?
Well, the percentages at the bottom, it tells what kind of fund it is in the blue and the gray. Maybe you can see it on yours. Can you see it on yours?
Yeah, give me a second. Are you talking about the blue where it says fixed, or
It says fixed assets, large cap, small cap, that kind of
let me
thing.
see if I could just pull up the document.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, PowerPoint won't let it won't move like that.
It is actually in the binder too on page 37.
Right.
Yes, it's only on Monday nights, it's from 6 to 8. It's through the church.
Okay. Ms. Robinson must be recruiting some people for us. We appreciate you. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Okay, we'll use this chart then. Great. It's a little different, must be updated from another year, but as you guys see, moderately aggressive. It says in the blue right here, everybody see that? In the blue, this large in the pie chart right here, the second one from the end. Moderately aggressive.
That chart is not in the binder, Deacon.
It's not.
Thomas.
Uh-oh.
This one's not in there?
I went and found a different one. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Okay. You're fine. No, that's good. I just didn't want everyone looking for it inside the binder.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, chicken breast.
I'm not gonna be able to find it that quickly. So let's choose one. Which one we want to do?
That's just pull the one you just had up. We'll go through it. Okay.
You set it up how you want.
You go ahead and mute Ms. Roberts from there.
Yeah, give me a second.
Thank you. Robertson. Got it. Good deal.
All right, so the concept is still the same based on what you'll see. Go ahead, Wasman.
Inside your investment portfolios, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call a pie chart. This pie chart shows the diversification of where your money should go. Right here it says 45% of your money should go into what we call a large cap equity. Now, in investment class, I tell you what a large cap equity is, but it's like a large mutual fund inside that particular, say 401k or something. The large cap equity, 45% of your money will go there. 15% will go in what we call a small cap equity, which are small companies that are kind of just getting started. We get going here in a second. Okay. If you notice right here, you got the dark blue here, you got the light blue here, and then you got the gray right here. For a moderately aggressive person, you got about, what's that, 50, 60, almost 80% of all your money is going to what I call equities, okay? Equities are companies like the Microsoft, the Amazons, the Teslas. These are all companies. some of these companies are small cap companies, which means they hadn't been started very long. They have a low equity base, not a huge 10 to 15 billion dollar company. It could be between $3 to $10 million. Okay. Then also we see it invest into international companies. Want to diversify this portfolio because you want to get some Zoom, which is an international company. You want to get some Alibaba, which is an international companies. Intellectual property is not just reserved for the US market. That's what international investing means. Somebody came out with Hyundai. Somebody came out with TikTok. They were all Chinese companies. If you don't have your money invested in those companies, you won't be able to get the gains. So for a moderate aggressive investor, you want 80% of your money to be going in equity, large cap, small cap, and international. So one of your homework assignments, I guess, what you could take a look at what a large cap fund is, a large cap equity means, small cap equity, and international equity. You have more knowledge when you get to the class when we get ready to teach it. Then 15% is fixed income. Fixed income is typically around bonds. They're pretty fixed. They don't fluctuate very much. You might want to get a municipal bond or a long-term bond with the federal government. I don't really, even as a financial advisor, I recommend even less into fixed income. I wouldn't have any more than 5% in fixed income, and I would have 0 in cash investments. That's how I recommend my clients. And I want to make sure this up here, this average 10.1% return is around 12 to 15%. That's where you got to take most of this money out of here. As you can see over here, though, a very aggressive allocation is 0 in fixed income and 5% in cash. Okay. So, but I'm pretty aggressive, what I call a sector investor, but this provides you diversification. Now, here's another thing too. This chart is somewhat outdated a little bit because we have a new asset class that has developed in the digital currencies and cryptocurrencies. There's a mass adoption going on right now that you're going to need to take some of your money and speculate it and put it in some of those digital and cryptocurrencies to really grow your accounts. So we'll talk about that in the investment class, but Candace, that's pretty good for now.
All right, perfect, perfect. So I know we've given you a lot of stuff for tonight. I know, right? It's been power packed, it's been a lot of info. That was a really great recap right there, Mr. Thomas. And everybody kind of has their profile. They filled it out at the same time. So their homework assignment, we're going to send you an email with a document for you to start working on as it relates to investing. It's going to ask you a lot of definitions, what to do with those. And we're going to send it early so that you'll have plenty of time to work on it before we start the investment class. All right. So Mr. Thomas gave y'all the handout information. He gave it to you early so you can have a heads up. Okay. So we'll do that. Any questions, any comments, observations? Are you okay? Let's talk about it. It's a good time. They got quiet on me, Mr. Thomas, so I gotta check on them, right?
Yeah. Well, the investment stuff probably blew them away, but we'll simplify it in the investment. We have 2 whole hours just to work with that stuff. So we just want you to be kind of pre-prepped on what you're going to be looking at. So it's a great time to invite that conversation in tonight. Now I'm really concerned too about the debt part. I'm going to kind of switch back to it. When I say debt, I want you guys to put together a financial plan, but your financial plan must include a debt elimination plan. We talked briefly about debt, the buddy mess and all that kind of stuff. We got just enough time. Candace, can you take us over to bankrate.com? I need to talk about this mortgage on the debt side, and we'll close it out with ways to find money inside your budget, what to look for. I need you guys to understand your mortgage, how it steals a lot of your wealth. And on tonight, dealing with debt, you need to understand that some people think that, buying a big house and paying for it 30 years is a good thing. But I want to show you if we can switch over to bankrate.com and go to a mortgage amortization table to show you what buying a house really looks like, to show you that a 3.5 or 4% interest rate is not a 3.5 or 4.5% interest rate. It's more like an 85 or 90% interest rate. And you need to understand how that works. Candace talked briefly earlier about tax deductions with homes and stuff like that. I hope you understand that, because your standard deduction right now wipes out a lot of your home deductions right now. So there's no real benefit to paying for a house a long period of time to get a tax write-off. Now you got to think about yourself, okay? So let's just take an average cost house. What is it, about 200,000? or 165. I don't know what they got in here. 330. Let's take about, what do you think, about $200,000 the average cost? Anybody want to put something in the chat? What's the average? So we know. Let's say 200,000. Okay, let's put that in. We'll do 200,000. Let's put down about 5% down payment. Most people don't put much money down on houses. Length of loan, 30 years. Interest rate, let's make that interest rate, I don't know, probably about 4.1, somewhere on in there. Okay. Okay, now everybody take a look at this. $200,000 house, 5% down, 30 years at 4.1% interest rate. Monthly payment is $1,118 a month. Okay. The actual principal interest payment is only $920. Add the homeowners insurance and stuff in, so you kind of take a peek at that, what that looks like. Just give you an idea. If you stay in a HOA area, you're gonna have another fee coming in there. But it's costing around $1,118 to buy a $200,000 house. Now, I'm gonna stop there for a second. We have a lot of people that are spending $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, and $1,500 a month on apartments. We also have people spending that kind of money renting homes. Now, tonight, you just looked at this. $1,118 could buy you a $200,000 home. But now let's take a look at the amortization table and see what it really costs you. Can't you go back up and hit the amortization table on that thing? Yeah, to the right. Yeah, right, the amortization schedule. Now, this is where the real money comes in out of your pocket. Now, I got a couple of dates I want you to write down. I want you to write down October 27, 2021. I guess that's the first payment. Is that the way it's scheduled? Yep. Okay. So current balance is $190,297. Payment is $920. Principal is $268. It's $651. Now, I need you to take $920 and do that times 12 for me. We're going to need that number later. $920 times 12. How much is that per year? Can somebody tell me?
$11,040.
Okay, keep that number handy, $11,040. Now, Kes, I need you to go down 10 years to October 27th, 2031. Okay. Right there, right there. Okay, good. Now, I need you to take that $11,000 and do that times 10 years. Okay, 10 years.
Is $110,000, $110,400 specifically.
Okay, so the loan started out at $190,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you spent $110,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we still owe how much?
$150,356.
So we spent $110,000, ladies and gentlemen, but we only paid $40,000 towards the principal of $180,000. Now, my question to you, is that a 4 or 5% loan? Absolutely not. The only time the 4.5 or 3% come in place on a home loan, if you pay it off in the first 12 months. Boy, they got us, didn't they? They got us. So to enjoy the 4.5% or 3.5% loan, you got to pay it off in the first 12 months. So my question to you, $110,000 and we still owe $150,000. Can it go down 10 more years? Okay. $2041. October 2041. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we spent $220,000 on a $190,000 balance, and we only paid off $100,000 on the loan. The loan still isn't, it's just only halfway paid off. So it's imperative that you understand the power of compound interest and who it works for. It does not work for you. See, if you have a lot of debt, whether it's a car, a home, a credit card, all you're doing is renting your lifestyle. You don't own it. And our goal is to make you owners of your lifestyle. So how do you do that? You take an extra $100, $200, or $250 a month, and you create a program called I'm going to invest in my debt. See, Candace showed you guys a program where you put $100 in, 33 cents a day, and it took a 18-year debt and cut it to almost 9 years, almost in half. Can you imagine if she'd have put $250 in there? What would happen? See, if we could pay this debt off in 10 years, okay, let's go back up to 10 years. 10 years. All right. We could pay that debt off in 10 years, right there, 10 years. We save ourselves a lot of money. We pay that $180,000 off in 10 years. What's going to happen in the next 20 years that we were scheduled to pay the debt off? Now, Candace, take me back to the bankrate.com calculator. I need you to understand there's no advantage to you for paying a mortgage off in 30 years. Now, I want to qualify that. When I say qualify that, if you just moved in the home, it's your first home, it's probably not the home you're going to be in for a long time. Just go in there and pay the house payment. If you're going to move in 5 to 7 years, just pay the payment every month. Don't worry about it. But if it's your final home, it's the home I'm going to retire in, it's a great time to put in this mortgage acceleration program to pay it off. We're going to go to a simple savings calculator. We're going to take that $920 a month, we paid the house off. We paid the house off in 10 years. 920. We're going to put 10. Let's put how many years? 20 years left. Okay. We're going to put 12% interest in there. And so now you paid the house off in 10 years. You took the same money, which is $920 that was allocated to pay the mortgage off for 30 years, but now you put it into an investment that's paying you average about 12% a year. See, the lost opportunity cost of $847,000 if you don't understand how a mortgage eats up your wealth. One of the largest transformations of wealth is inside your mortgage. So you got to get that mortgage out of your wealth bucket. You've got to create wealth. So all we did was paid off one debt in 10 years, reallocated the money, and we created almost $1 million off the same money that was allocated towards your mortgage.
But you know what, Mr. Thomas? What's crazy is that we used the $100 and paid the house, the car, the credit cards, and everything off. So really, in reality, you would even have more than this.
Yeah, I didn't want to make it bad, but go ahead and put another $500 in there. Just go ahead and put another $500 in there. That's the credit card and all other stuff that you owe, student loans. So we got $1,420 and $1,420 a month. So that debt really costs you about $1.3 million if you don't understand the class we taught tonight. If you listen to all this stuff tonight and you don't come up with a financial strategy, a plan to try to limit all your debt in the next 10 years, this is what that debt's going to cost you over the next 20 years. I don't care how old you are. This formula works with anyone. So it's imperative that you be intentional. You be deliberate with your money. You are the CFO. I mean, when I say you're the chief financial officer and the architect of your personal economy, your personal financial plan, and you can't let not knowing about debt steal all your money. See, there's not one reason we can't create no wealth, because we don't know what we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
No, admit that what you don't know don't hurt you. What do you think about not knowing about money? The bank's just killing us. I'm sorry, Marcus, but the bank's just killing us, man, killing us. Like Marcus just an employee, okay? So guys, you got to get this. You got to leave this class with a financial plan, a strategy about money. And that's where you can take the same money you're making and create an estate worth leaving, $1 million, $2 million. I don't care if you're 55 or 60 years old, you still got time to work your money magic. You just got to have a strategy. And that's what we're here for. Help you establish the importance of find out where your money was at. That was the first class. The second class was going in there detailing where your money is going, what the interest rates are, what you're currently paying on your money. Tonight, we want to teach you what it's costing you by not knowing what that interest rate is really doing to your wealth. Everything's been very staged, step 1, step 2, step 3. And then the next class, they're going to get into debt on the credit and understanding the credit and how the banks look at you from inside. You get the inside secrets on what the banks look at. So any quick questions before we assign the homework? We got about 6 minutes left. Any quick questions?
Good stuff. Is there a break point to refinancing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you've had a high interest rate and you've accumulated quite a bit of equity inside your home, I would definitely refinance take the new home and put it on a debt elimination plan. Take the excess money you pull out of the equity and reinvest it. Equity inside your home is dead equity. It's not doing anything. Okay, you need to know that. It's there, but it's not doing anything for you. So if you got excess equity in your home, hey, take it out, put your home on a 10-year plan or whatever to refinance it, take the excess money, reinvest that. Over the same period of time, that excess money, if you're disciplined enough, don't create any more debt, go buy all the extra stuff. You're trying to plan for your retirement, you take excess money and build up towards your retirement or student loans, whatever you want to do. You can get that money back. Cash is king. Cash is king. Any questions?
Great question. Any other questions? Wonderful answer. Any other questions? All right.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I've just seen a lot of information on YouTube, basically talking about taking your HELOC and using it to pay off your mortgage. How do you feel about that?
Well, HELOCs are good if you understand it. You understand the formulas involved with the HELOCs. A lot of companies have what you call software programs that do all the work for you. A HELOC really should be tied into an automatic program where you take your whole entire paycheck, put it inside of the bank with the HELOC, take the automatic program, and you live out of that paycheck in the HELOC program. It's pretty sophisticated. I think that software runs somewhere around $2,000 to $3,000, but it's worth it. Now, doing a HELOC on your own, I find that most people are not disciplined enough to do that type of formulation on their own. They have to have their hand held through the process. And there are companies out there that would do that for you. I like them. I like them personally. Yeah, they can get you out of debt, same kind of 5 to 17 years, and free up money for you too. It's a strategy. Good question.
Good stuff. All right. Any other questions? We have had good questions so far. Anybody else?
Absolutely.
You don't have bad questions.
They're good questions.
So I'm listening. How your age, right? If like one of those risk tolerance pieces was on, are you going to take all your money out in, what was this, 6 to 8 years or 10 to 12 or 11 or something? So our age, should we be thinking like with our investments in our 401ks, shouldn't we be thinking like how we're going to live out of less is more kind of mindset, like getting rid of all our debt so that we can live out of, say, $50,000 a year, since we won't be working as we knew it?
Yeah, everybody's plan is personalized, of course, because everybody's situation is different. But ideally, the objective when you get ready to retire is have very, very little debt you have to service. And also based off your risk with investment. So you're spot on what you're talking about. As you get older, of course, your risk level should go down with risking your money in any kind of investment. But the most important part, I think, out of your entire investment plan is to invest in your debt. Make sure it goes away. Anyway, that's anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 a month that you do not have to service anymore. That's extremely important, because if you do that and you got other excess monies, retirement, Social Security, and those things, that's going to offset the drop off in income, kind of keep your lifestyle kind of where you are. Okay. Good question. Now here's some quick homework I need you guys to do. Okay, I need you to pull your credit, check your credit scores and stuff for this next class. Okay, pull your credit report. Is there a certain site we send them to pull their credit?
They can pull it from free annual credit report.com. Is that right, Marcus?
There it is. On the Marcus got an annual credit.
I was waiting on you, wise man.
Oh, hey, thanks a lot, Marcus. Thanks.
Annualcreditreport.com. You got it.
Pull that credit report. It's going to be real important for the next class. Okay. Try to sign up if you can for one of those free credit monitoring services. I personally use Credit Karma as a free site. It kind of tracks all your, it gives you a weekly update on what's going on with your credit. It reports to you. All that stuff is free, real important. So take a look at some cuts, guys. Take a look at your insurance on your cars and your homes and stuff. I tell you who's really good right now. That's Allstate. They are trying to take everybody's business. I don't care how long you've been with State Farm, Farmers, all those guys. Do not fall in love with the insurance company, because what happens, they give the new guys discounts and the old guys are paying for it. You've been around 5, 6, 7 years, your rates keep going up. The new guys, guess what? Their rates are way down here. I have left State Farm on 2 or 3 occasions and came back 2 or 3 years and got better rates. They play that game all the time. You got to understand the game. So don't be afraid to go out and look for lower insurance. Candace may have some others that they work with too, but look for the lower your car insurance costs.
Allstate is good, but Progressive has been really getting it in.
They aggressive too, aren't they? Yeah.
Almost $200.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's really good.
So don't be afraid to do that. Yeah, we got to find the money, guys. We got to find the money. It's out there. You just got to dig deep and cut your sentimental ties away from companies and stuff you've been with for a long time. Make them work for your business. Okay. Let's see. And if some of you guys have a shortfall on your cash flow management sheets, and you can't find the money anywhere, you might have to consider taking a part-time job for a small time to get rid of some debt to get even. If you're in the red right now and you don't have cash coming in, you may have to consider looking at a part-time job. And there are a lot of part-time jobs out there right now you can do online at home, sitting at home. I'm talking about you could be answering phones at night from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. It makes you extra $200-300 a week to pay down your debt to get where you need to be. Sometimes there are tough decisions involved. Okay. And lastly, for your homework, make sure that you've gotten your debt elimination plan in place. Know where the money is going. We can't see it. We can't look over your shoulder. It's strictly up to you. We want to encourage you to apply the information. Just don't come to this class and come back again and again and don't take any action. Action is everything. And that's about it, Candace. Just get ready for the next class. It's going to be interesting. The credit report is amazing.
All right. Good stuff. Am I hearing something?
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Miss Candace,
Yes, ma'am.
what is that website that you go on to get your credit score free?
I think you posted in the chat there. Let's see what that is.
Yes, annualcreditreport.com actually gives you your report. It's not going to give you your score.
Right.
The Credit Karma gives you your score and it's relative, give or take a few points. So we were saying pull your report to make sure that it's accurate with annualcreditreport.com. If that's free, they give you a free one every year. And then Credit Karma is the site that kind of gives you more of your score. And Karma's, everything's on the chat. Karma spelled with a K, K-A-R-M-A, Credit Karma. Did you get that, Miss Michelle? We'll also send this information to you via email as well after the class, normally by Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
will.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Well, Mr. Thomas, Marcus, you got anything else? Closing words before we get ready to go?
No, we're excited about next Monday and look forward to seeing everyone. We'll talk a lot about credit. We'll talk about different types of credit. We will give you the magic formula to increase and improve your credit score. So when you leave next Monday night, you will know exactly what you need to do to increase your credit score. So come back Monday night, and we're also going to talk a little bit about small businesses. For those of you who might either own a small business now or might be interested in starting one, we're going to talk a lot about preparations before you go to the bank so that you're ready to approach the bank when you get ready with your business plan.
All right. Awesome
All right.
sauce. It's going to be great. Anybody want to volunteer to pray us out?
We've got a quiet bunch tonight, so
Ooh, they are.
I know. Happy to pray.
Go
Will you
ahead.
bow with me, please? Our Father, which art in heaven, once again, we come to you and say thank you for the information that was given this evening. We, Lord, thank you for all of your blessings. We thank you for your coverage. We thank you for your covering power. Dear Master, we want to always pause and thank you for your love. Thank you for your mercy, and thank you showing up for your grace. Lord, we ask that what we learned this evening, we will make it live in our daily lives. will take action. We won't leave this place and forget about what we've heard tonight, what we've learned. Lord, taking action is going to help us be better stewards of the money that you have given us. And it will also allow us to free up some money to give it back to you and so into your kingdom for the benefit of your church. And Lord, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for all who is in attendance tonight. We pray for those who could not make it, and I pray that you will bring everyone back next Monday night where we will share a little bit more information. These and other blessings we ask and pray in your darling son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right. You all have a great evening, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.